What if I told you that one innocent photo destroyed a man's television career and changed the automotive reality TV world forever? Let that sink in. You probably remember Tom Smith from Fast and Loud and Misfit Garage.
This is our chariot of glory! No longer will we hunt in shame!
The guy with the razor-sharp wit who could turn any tense garage moment into comedy gold. Then one day, he just disappeared. Vanished from our screens like he never existed. But here's what Discovery Channel doesn't want you to know: Tom's exit wasn't just about a simple firing. It was about control, manipulation, and a web of deception that goes deeper than anyone imagined. I've spent months digging into this story, and what I discovered will completely change how you see reality TV. By the end of this video, you'll understand why Tom Smith's departure was inevitable, and why it reveals a dark truth about the entire automotive entertainment industry. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm your host diving deep into the untold stories behind your favorite car shows. Today, we're uncovering the real reason Tom Smith disappeared from Fast and Loud, and trust me, this rabbit hole goes much deeper than a simple workplace disagreement. Most people think they know this story. Tom got fired for letting someone take a photo with Richard Rawlings' Rolls-Royce, then started his own show.
Hello everybody, I'm Tom Smith, car expert and ASE certified master mechanic and former employee of Gas Monkey Garage.
Case closed, right? Wrong. That's exactly what they want you to believe. Here's what we're going to expose today. First, the incident that triggered everything, and why it was actually a setup. Second, the shocking truth about who really controlled Misfit Garage from day one. And third, the financial reality that made Tom's exit not just likely but necessary for his survival. But before we dive in, let me ask you this: have you ever wondered why some reality TV stars just vanish without explanation? Drop a comment below with "vanished" if you've noticed other mysterious disappearances from your favorite shows. Let me paint you a picture of what really happened that fateful afternoon at Gas Monkey Garage. It's 2014, cameras are rolling, and everything seems normal. A visitor walks in and asks for a simple photo with Richard's prized Rolls-Royce. Now, here's where the official story gets interesting. Tom Smith and Jordan Butler, two experienced mechanics who'd been around the block, supposedly just said, "Sure, no problem," to this random request. But think about this for a second. These guys had been working in high-profile garages for years. They knew the rules about Richard's personal vehicles. So why did they really say yes? Here's my theory, and stick with me because this gets wild. They were set up. Someone wanted them gone, and this was the perfect excuse. The garage manager's explosive reaction wasn't spontaneous, it was orchestrated. The shouting, the public humiliation, the immediate firing, it all happened too fast, too perfectly. But here's what really happened next that nobody talks about. When Tom fired back with his own angry words, he wasn't just defending himself. He was refusing to play the victim in someone else's script. That moment of defiance? That's what really sealed his fate. Richard Rawlings didn't hesitate to cut them loose, claiming they were difficult to work with. But here's the thing about Richard, and we'll get into this more later: he never does anything without calculating the profit potential first. Now, this is where the story gets really interesting and where most people have been completely fooled. The narrative we were sold was beautiful, wasn't it? For fired mechanics, Tom Smith, Jordan Butler, Scott McMillan, and Thomas Weeks band together to create their own shop. They call it Fired Up Garage. Discovery Channel backs them, and boom, Misfit Garage is born in October 2014. The ultimate comeback story. But what if I told you this rebellion was planned from the beginning? Here's what I discovered that will blow your mind: Richard Rawlings never actually lost control. In fact, he gained more control than ever before. While viewers thought they were watching a David versus Goliath story, they were actually watching Goliath play chess with himself. Let me break down the evidence that's been hiding in plain sight. First, Richard's name appeared in the credits as executive producer from day one. Not as a guest, not as a consultant, as the person with creative control over the entire show. Think about that. The man who supposedly fired these guys was now their boss again, just with a different title.
Richard helped you kick something off your bucket list.
What's that?
Getting fired.
I guess you can look at it that way. Everybody knows we got fired from gas money.
Second, he owned the building where Fired Up Garage operated. That's right, Tom and the crew were paying rent to the same man who had them fired in the first place. How's that for irony? Third, and this is the smoking gun, Richard earned approximately $22,000 every single time he appeared on screen to cause trouble for the Misfit Garage crew. Every argument, every confrontation, every moment of drama was literally putting money in his pocket. The rivalry that kept viewers glued to their screens? It was as real as professional wrestling. Now let's talk about something that will entirely change how you see these shows, the money. Because while we were all watching these guys live their dream of building cars, they were actually trapped in a financial nightmare. Here's the brutal truth about the car restoration business that reality TV doesn't want you to know: it's almost impossible to make real money. Let me give you the numbers that will shock you. For Fired Up Garage to bring in $100,000 in a single month, which sounds reasonable for a TV shop, right? They would have needed to complete nearly 50 full builds. With their staff and equipment, that was physically impossible. But here's what's even more insane: each car they sold brought in an average profit of only $2,000. After weeks of work, expensive parts, labor costs, and all the drama, they walked away with pocket change that had to be split between multiple partners. Remember that 1961 Ford Econoline pickup truck from season 4? They spent $25,000 restoring it and sold it to actor Danny Trejo for $27,000. After all that work, all that stress, all those cameras rolling, they made $2,000 profit. Split 4 ways, that's $500 each for weeks of work. You want to know what really kept these guys alive? The TV show paychecks. Each main cast member earned between $17,000 and $25,000 per episode. The cars were just props in a much bigger financial game. But here's what made Tom Smith different from everyone else in this manufactured drama: he had real talent that extended far beyond turning wrenches. While the cameras were rolling at Fired Up Garage, Tom was living a double life that most fans never knew about. By night, he was performing at improv comedy clubs, developing the sharp wit that made him such a standout on the show. This wasn't just a hobby, it was his escape from the suffocating world of reality TV. Think about this: here's a guy with genuine comedic talent, trapped in a show where his humor was being used to sell someone else's narrative. Every one-liner, every moment of levity that balanced out the garage tension, it was all being filtered through Richard Rawlings' vision as executive producer. Tom's childhood dream of FNU Garage, Fired Up, was being lived out, but not on his terms. The name that had meant something personal to him since he was a kid was now just another brand in Richard's empire. And here's something that really shows Tom's character: during the COVID-19 pandemic, when most entertainment ground to a halt, Tom found ways to keep performing live comedy. While others were stuck at home, he was adapting, evolving, and proving that his talent couldn't be contained by circumstances. But the most telling detail about who Tom really is: his work with animal rescue. This is a guy who, despite all the drama and financial pressure, still found time to transport and rescue dogs. That tells you everything about his priorities and his heart. As the seasons progressed, the control mechanisms became more obvious to anyone paying attention. Richard's appearances weren't random, they were calculated interruptions designed to create content and maintain his authority. Picture this: you're trying to build a business, establish your independence, and prove you can succeed without your former boss. But that same boss owns your building, controls your budget, produces your show, and gets paid every time he shows up to make your life difficult. That's not independence, that's an elaborate form of employment with extra steps. The unannounced visits, the stirring up of arguments, and the poking fun at the mechanics, it all served multiple purposes. It created drama for viewers, it reminded the crew who was really in charge, and it generated income for Richard every single time. But here's what I think really happened: Tom Smith, with his sharp mind and comedy background, started seeing through the manipulation. He began to understand that he wasn't building his own dream, he was helping someone else build theirs while using his name and reputation. Every performer knows when they're being used, and Tom Smith was no exception. The man who could turn any tense moment into comedy gold was watching his talent being exploited for someone else's profit. The hints he started dropping on social media about his own auto modification show weren't just dreams, they were escape plans. He was testing the waters, seeing if he could build something truly independent. But here's the thing about the entertainment industry: once you're labeled as difficult or hard to work with, doors start closing. And in the automotive TV world, Richard Rawlings had significant influence over who got opportunities and who didn't. Tom's continued work on personal car projects, his comedy performances, and his animal rescue work, these weren't just hobbies. They were proof that he had value and talent beyond the manufactured drama of reality TV. So why did Tom Smith really disappear from our screens? It wasn't because he couldn't handle the pressure or because he wasn't talented enough. It was because he made a calculated decision that his dignity and artistic integrity were worth more than a paycheck from a rigged game. Think about it. Would you rather be remembered as the funny guy who got manipulated on TV or as someone who walked away when they realized they were being used? Tom's social media presence after leaving shows a man who's found peace with his decision. He's still working on cars, still performing comedy, still helping animals. But now he's doing it on his terms, without cameras capturing every moment for someone else's profit. The automotive TV industry lost one of its most genuine personalities, but Tom Smith gained something more valuable: his freedom. So there you have it, the real reason Tom Smith disappeared from Fast and Loud and the entire automotive TV world. It wasn't about a photo with a Rolls-Royce. It wasn't about being difficult to work with. It was about a talented man who refused to be a puppet in someone else's show. The key takeaways from Tom's story are these: first, reality TV is rarely what it appears to be on the surface. The drama you're watching is often manufactured, and the people you're rooting for might not be in control of their own narratives. Second, sometimes disappearing from the spotlight is the bravest thing you can do. Tom chose authenticity over fame and personal integrity over financial security. And third, real talent always finds a way to shine, even when it's not on television. Tom's continued success in comedy and his ongoing car projects prove that you don't need a TV show to validate your worth. The next time you watch a reality show and wonder why someone just vanished, remember Tom Smith's story. Sometimes the people who disappear are the ones who figured out the game first. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever walked away from a situation that looked good on paper but felt wrong in your gut? Share your story in the comments below. I read every single one and respond to as many as I can. If this deep dive into the real story behind Tom Smith's disappearance opened your eyes to how reality TV really works, smash that like button and subscribe for more untold stories from the automotive entertainment world.